Okay, start recording. Today I'll be speaking about why I'm doing this website, how do I improve that, and what is some of the reasoning and logic behind it. So right now when I'm focusing on getting new clients, getting new cases, one of the things that I take into consideration is how can website make it easier for me to bring in more customer, bring in more businesses? Because whenever we talk about websites, sometimes uh, I personally engage with client coming asking me and say, okay, there are Fiverr developers that are relatively good budget, or even as cheap as a template where I can download and just slap it on a Wix site. So I think ultimately what we're trying to answer this question is, what's the purpose of the website? Why do we want to improve it? What's the value of improving it? And if we want to make changes, what's some of the rationales? What are the options? So let's say this is my website. This is how I mostly get my clients. They take a look, they come and see my work, they engage with me. And if we have to think about the value, or if I have to think about the value of the website, here's a chart, here's a graph that helps me think about, one, why am I doing this? Why do I even want to improve it? How does that contribute to the performance of my business? And this is an overview of how I connect the dots. First, it's revenue, right? This is something that we usually want to achieve ultimately, is make more money. How do we do that? Get more projects. But where do we get more projects? Leads. The more the better, and the higher the chance to get converted, we get more projects. And where do we get leads? And it should be traffics. So people coming in, talking to us, whether it's from a networking event or online, all different kinds of stuff. So, of course, where does the website lies? And I would say it's right in between here, which is turning traffic into opportunities. So these are opportunities. Whether they're a good one, bad one, they're still opportunities. Opportunity that the user or the visitor shows interest in what we do and want to further understand what my offerings are and go deeper into the conversation. It might turn into a project or it might not, but at least those who actually engage with through my website shows an interest with a sign of interest. So ultimately, that's what I'm going to do with my website. The goal is to everything that I do or to optimize is to increase the chance of turning traffic into leads. And then the benefit of that, ultimately using math, and it is, let's say I am making 15K per month, let's say, through different various projects, and that's through 15K. And right now, if I have to talk to spend, let's say, I would spend eight in 1 month. I would spend probably 3 weeks time, in person time, to talk to every single person who I met and explain to them what I'm doing, which means the cost of acquiring 15K, the amount of investment that I have to invest in is time. And I think time is very precious. It's non-replenishable, which means the time I invest in this making this 15K by talking to so many people, it's not going to come back. And if we think about what can I use with this 3 weeks is a lot of other things. For example, making content on Medium, making content on LinkedIn. There are a lot of other things that will help me bring more better result and perhaps better than just spending time talking to every single person who I came across. So the goal is to free myself from explaining, and which means reducing the cost of acquisition of acquiring new customers. And then the better it does, the less work that I have to do in investing in getting new customers. So in general, we understand, or I understand that that's where I'm going with. And the next step is to look at my website. All right. Design, it's very standard, I would say. It's a very standard, very general website. It has an article, it has projects, something about me, and contact me. So this is probably the only place that allows customer or visitor to show their interest and saying, okay, I want to speak to you. What do you have to offer? All the other pages are just information. So I have some stories here. I'm showing projects as well, a few of them, which I'm going to update more pretty soon, so to speak, while we speak. And there's some articles that I wrote that I'm also going to write more, hopefully, in the coming future. But just looking at the design, I would say the design does matter, but not as much as we have to understand context. So let's say if I'm already making a good number of fortune, that's converting it very well, with even the most basic design that looks pretty bland, it's already doing its good job. Uh, that really brings you to, like, design matters, but only if it has context. So where do I look into context? I go into analytic. We have I have GA installed. Um, I look at the last 90 days. It has 342 user, which is not bad for a personal site, and it's okay. On average, people spend 2.5 minutes and engage around 1 minute. Let's see. Most of the people coming from, most of my visitors come from Hong Kong. Not surprised. From the United States, Canada, because I was posting, on some forums and groups that are from the States. So this is that's not unexpected. It's what I expected. And let's see. I wanted to know which is my best performing pages, but not before I understand how I'm generating leads with my website currently. So I could go into my backend, then go into my form. I could see that over the last couple of months, I've been getting nothing but spams. So I don't think these are real people. I don't see that they're actually leaving any meaningful contact, or they're actually looking for something real. So I think one of the goal, so if we look at the numbers here, let's say, I think it's edits, forms. Yes, this conversion, it is going to be 0. So basically, meaningful conversion. This is, if we just talk about just conversion, it might be 9.4, but really it isn't actually doing any justice if I just believe that I actually have a 10%, close to 10% conversion rate. That's just me lying to myself. So if I look at that for the last, without any fancy visualizations, for the last 90 days, 325 users. Let's see, how about 1 month? In 1 month time, 64. So 64 people, and none of those became a lead. So what should I do? Like, when I think about this, is there are a couple things that I could do. Uh, I could hypothesize that uh, the things that people see are not relevant enough to them. Perhaps the visitors are just not looking for leads, but they're looking for information. That can be true. But also, if you think about uh, why my visitors who are coming from Hong Kong are not actually, submitting any leads, it could be a couple things. It could be there are not enough new users, which that's why I wanted to create more content to attract new customers or new visitors. But also, I think the design of the site, it's also something that could be improved. So let's say we have a page which gets the most traffic. Let's say reusable. So this is one of the articles that I wrote about something fairly technical. It's a plugin that I use for my projects, and it's very functional, high high performance. It's nothing like Elementor. If you've ever used Elementor, you know that these are very bloated. It slows down the site, and it's just not a very pleasant experience. So I think these content allows me to gain traffic organically and allows me to keep the customer engaged. So let's say 70 people out of 198, they spent time in reading this page. So what we can do? So there are a couple of things that also stood out as well. Projects, homepage are getting most of the attention, but of course there's only 3 projects, so I'm hoping that I could increase this number. This and articles, I think people are looking are they want to see more work rather than articles. So adding more project is going to be one of the goals as well in the longer run. But not this would not be relevant to the change of the design of the website. But it's just going to be a plan that I'm thinking of on a longer term. Now, this is also a project. So this is a project. This is a project. This is not a project. This is an article, and this is a. Let's see. So those two are articles. So Google Sheet, and I think these are something that we could highlight. For indoor foot traffic, I think that's getting some traffic that we could work on. So project and articles are the two things that we'll work on. So I would say this is the proposal, or this is sort of the guideline that I use for all of my projects, my client projects, or the projects that I have. And the reason why I'm doing this is ultimately, and in my learning, what I've been reading up, I think Chris Do is actually a really great resources on catching up on or understanding how to run good business. And also shout out to, I think it's Fox Legend. is that the key to growing a business is through good result, and then bring those good replicable result to the next customer who are similar to your first customer or previous customer. Because the more relevant it is, the more overlapping the pain points are, the easier it gets to be able to close that sales. So the goal right now as an early stage startup, my goal is to accumulate as much success story in a certain niche, and then highlighting those success. And those success cannot be too general. It must be very specific, and it has to be hitting the pain point of my customers. So thinking about what my projects like, and the reason why I have all these briefs is really not just for the sake of writing a proposal, but it is helping me to understand how do I get, or how do I help my next customer, or how do I help my future customers, clients, to solve their problem. So let's say, let's go through some of the questions I have right now. So I think my primary function of the website, it serves as a CV for my work, and generate leads without me repeating myself over and over again. Maybe I'll just make it larger. Alright. So what's working, what's not? I think there are a couple things that is working. I'll close this. I'm embarrassed by my words, but let's say what's working. So working is working, speedy loading. Okay, clean, but not working. Spam form submission, not working. Not enough traffic. On a note, when I think about website, when I approach a customer, I think this is a topic that I think of later when I start qualifying leads, is using traffic. So let's say, would I go in and fix a website that gets 0 to 1 view per month? Perhaps not. Because conversion isn't my problem, or it's my problem, but traffic isn't. So looking for businesses that has no traffic, I'm not gonna be able to help them. And if I try to help them, and nobody's gonna win from that kind of situation. So, but still, not enough traffic is something that I have in mind and that I can observe through the Google Analytics. Still, let's put that down for now. Not enough traffic. Uh, in 90 days, I think what we talked about is, let's see, what I talk about for the last 90 days. 342 users, 325 users, 325 users, new users, none who became a lead. Currently it's contact us. So definitely not working. And if I have to break down of a few things. Let's try to make a few educated guesses. So let's say I'm looking at my homepage. Maybe it's not engaging. Articles and projects are pretty much the same. We did get a lot of traffic to these two articles, which I think is a good sign. And I think it's also because they're right in front and right on top. So making articles, projects more prominent could be something of a focus. All right. So let's say uh, only 2 pages gets visitors. All right. 342 visitors, but only 70 views are on the homepage, but the rest are just scattering, and it started to drop off. So about me, how to use, contact me. I think it's a sign that the website it's getting a lot of siloed visits, meaning once I came here, I'm getting nowhere, right? When I scroll down, okay, when I finish, what else? There's a lack of call to action. I don't know why I'm here. Is it easy for me to follow some other train of thoughts? How is this relatable, or how can I get people's interest in reading other stuff other than having the latest article just right on the side? And how to keep my customers staying in this website and consume other content other than the one that they right land on. Alright, so only 2 pages get visitors. The the home page and the article about uh, okay. So this is not working. I think it is working in some sense, but it doesn't work in a whole if we see this website as one rather than just individual pages. And because of this, we don't get enough leads. So what else is not working? I wouldn't say adding more feature is going to be part of working or not working, because these are very business oriented goals. So not having enough leads, and I think what that means is also, visitors are not spending enough time or consuming enough contents to be convinced to become a leader. Right. So what role does it play in the customer's life? I think in that sense, this is, again, visit my site for work reference, gain more confidence before committing to my services. Right. So it's not like a SaaS where they're going to come here often and use my services. There's just going to be a portfolio. It's going to be like a storefront. Once they buy my service, they would no longer come to my site. But there are content like this video that I'm planning on putting there as well. So everything that I do, everything that I put in this website is going to help me drive or increase the trust and to help me build up my credibility, show my work, show my process, show my understanding, show my logic, and help my visitors to understand that what kind of a person am I, and am I the best person to serve them for what they're looking for. So overview, right now I think we have a general idea of what we want to do with the website. It's not bad, I would say. I made it, so it looks okay. These are okay. But are they impactful enough? Are they what's missing? Some of the things that we could do, we could not do, right? And now we could sort of brainstorm. But overview. So let's say problem statement. So problem statement, I think we have a few, is not enough leads. If we have to break down why does it not have enough leads, customers are not consuming enough in enough content, not spending enough time on the site, um, not navigating to other places of the site. And I think one of the core reason is really it's the customer journey. Let's use this slang, but really it's just the logistic, the design, what's there, the lack of call to action. Lack of call to actions. All right. And what would success look like? Success, of course, some of the more prominent numbers, because I cannot ultimately what I want to gain, what I want to aim for is more leads. So, of course, the increase from 0 legit leads to, let's say, hopefully I'll get 3 per month. Success. And of course, some of the more individual overview of his average section. So last 90 days, and I'll just take a screenshot of this. Maybe it's even easier for me to do so. Success. Alright. And let's say I can't really fix the organic search, direct, organic social within the website because it's not about the conversion, but it's more about where to put the link and like exposing myself to the wider crowd. So these are some of the things that it's talking about, the traffic, but not the conversion. But let's break down into pages. Let's go into the page. And let's take a screenshot of the last 90 days. All right. So this is the overview. I think what we get is, let's just take a quick screenshot of this. Maybe I'll just shrink it down a little bit so that we have the whole page. I'm not gonna export that because this is simply just enough. Let's put this on top. Let's put this side by side. Oh, whoops. Actually, I cannot do that. Oh, okay. I'm going to do here, I'm going to do here, and I'm going to do right here. Right, alrighty. Alright, so zero leads, that's the key success that I want to achieve as a business. Saving time reaching out. but also some success that is more immediate and more easier to measure. And this is a framework that I use, which is called leading lagging indicator, which I can show in just a bit. Is now 90 days. What I want to do is really increase average section duration and increase some of the other pages. Increase traffic to pages other than 2 pages, the landing page or the home page, and the winning page that we've worked. So reusable block, blah blah blah. So this is the one. Increasing this is not going to help us right now. Right. So having those numbers are somewhat on a bigger scale of things, but it helps us to understand the longer they stay. Let's say these are some of the ways that I think increasing these would help me would increase my chances of getting more leads. Let's put it that way. So lead, getting more leads from zero, legit leads, not just regular random form submission. 0 leads to 3 per month. To 1, increase average section duration, increase traffic to pages. And I think that's how we would measure our success. So if that's the case, what do we do? So since we want to talk about the rationales, of course, looking at the numbers, and I think increase their average section because the longer the time that they're staying here, they see more value, they see that it's very relevant to them, they want to reach out. So they're saying that, okay, this project is very relevant to me, I want to get it fixed, and can you help me with my website project? Now, and also traffic to pages means that I need to be more clear on my value proposition, like what do I do? Increase the traffic to other pages because I think there are a lot of content are underexposed. So increasing that would also increase the chance of getting more leads. And there are a few ways that we could do. So let's give overview because overview we're just recapping the information. Or let's just go through that. So overview. So Ivan on .io is not getting, well, if I'm writing for a client, I won't write it like that, but it's not getting enough leads, even though, and I think even though my work and expertise are proven to be helpful to those who worked with me previously. All right, so one of the things that I always show, like being very proud of is my testimonials. So let's look at that. Scroll all the way down. So over the last couple of years, I was able to accumulate quite a bit of testimonials, and I think these are, I love it, of course. It helps people to understand kind of people I am, what do I do, and I think this is my way, of validating whether my work and expertise are helpful. And I think it does not add up if I, of course, one of the reasons why I get recommendations is because I reached out, and as long as you're not a very bad person, usually, in all honesty, usually you would get testimonials. Uh, but nevertheless, I'm not downselling myself because if you have the chance to look into my recommendations, some of them are just lovely. And most of the time, I don't even write it so that they could just post it. It's all coming from those who work with me, and I did not prompt them in any way or anything. So I think when these two doesn't add up, I think my website could do better. So what I'm going to do, like, how do I get those in? So we're not getting enough leads, even though my work and expertise are proven are helpful. Um, some of the things that I want to achieve is get more leads and just save my time. And I think in terms of my business, which is in terms of me building a website for customers, I've been spending more and more time on finding leads, whether it's cold calling or following up. And it's not that I didn't learn anything from that, because man, this process is really interesting. Like, how do you build trust with a stranger? How do you use the least words to convey your message in the most clearest, simplified way? So these are things that I'm still learning, and I learn a lot. But I would also love that I could just focus on delivering value. So things like writing more content, doing case studies, building a system that allows me to streamline all these processes. Rather than selling my time, I'm selling a service that adds value. So I don't have to say I need to spend 10 hours to be able to do this work. You just have to give me X amount of money and I'll be able to bring you Y amount of value. So, spend less time in lead gen, more time in honing and improving my services. Service. All right, I forgot how to spell service. S-E-R-V-I-S. VS services. Yes, thank you. Wow. Right. So, objective. Increase leads converting from traffic. Of course, increase stay time. I'm not gonna type it all out. I think we all understand what this is. So, stay time, increase traffic to other pages. All right, and that's it. Objectives. I would say some softer objective. Increase the relevancy to those who visits my site. Add trust to my site. To trust not to my site. Build more trust. Show more relevant experience and results. This is the objective of the entire project, the redesign, and I think these are going to revolve around this. So, what's the scope? What do we build? What do we build? Build not build. So the scope of this is not build as more content, post more places. I'll try. I don't think I could eliminate or not post any new content regarding of this, but we're gonna do a rough conversion rate ratio. So let's say over the last 9 days, 0 out of 325, which is 0%. That's the general idea of the conversion, right? Or even the traffic. The traffic, how many of those? We get 342 traffic, and none of those get converted. So 1, 2, 3, that's great. It wouldn't be because it wouldn't be a clear cut. So there wouldn't be a clear cut, but post more places, spread the words. So this is all right. But what are we going to build? So these are some of the things that comes along, but it's not part of the project because it's not the scope of the project itself, the build, but more of a grander scheme of things. Okay, so what do we build? I have a few ideas when we look at the site. First of all, we wanted to increase in relevancy. What I wanted to do is, let's say, I think one, increasing, I think very rational and logical is increase the counts or the number of submission contact us touch points. So meaning, do I have more contact me form in every page? Maybe I'll add contact us banner all across the site, or even have something like a contact form down at every single project, allowing the customer to contact me in whenever they see a case that they like. And so increase the number of contact us touch point, make those touch points a lot easier to access. So one of the things that I think I might do is having a scheduler. So in an ideal way, let's say time, something like this. You'll see this, see booking minutes, just click the time, and then I think that would also be very easy for customer to sign up and talk to me about their projects, comparing to having a form, which is sometimes it's not the best way to do because customer just wants to talk to me immediately, hoping that's the case. So make those touch more easy to access. And so something like something like a HubSpot meeting widget at the end of every project. And I think the design, I would like to show relevant cases. So right now, when I go and see projects, I don't actually know what's the context of these. So visiting, full stack, transform, but it's not prominent enough. Something like a category. So this is data analytic, this is web development, and this is digital marketing. I do have a few fields because I used to work as a PM, so I'm more like a dual track rather than I've been spending all my time in web development. So my portfolio can be confusing because it doesn't look like I'm serving just one industry or one sort of vertical. So there are a couple of things that I want to address. Let's say build one categories. So expand. So expand categories, data, data analytic. I think we might look into keywords, data analytics, or business analysis. They are the same, similar, but depends on which keyword attracts more customers. Product management, web development, digital marketing, business analysis, digital. So these are some of the things that I've touched upon, and I wanted to sort of shave down. I think different areas have different overlaps, and I want to be able to sort of build that in in a web architecture, meaning that a lot of different points, find common grounds between them, like connect them, and build them like a web. So expand category. I want to be able to, have a category tag and say, okay, these are some of the things. These projects are relevant to this topic. If you're interested in web development, click them, find them. All right. So once it's here, I also wanted to make it more prominent. Transformation from projects driven. I want to be more prominent. Prominent as in, what's the point of this project? Maybe an excerpt. That's more meaningful. And also, if we look into the case study, the category should also be here as well. I'm thinking of something like pills that allows customer to, or allows the visitor to navigate to any other pages of articles or projects that has the same, that shares the same category. Other than that, what I would also think about is, one, add some call to action to the content, maybe on the side, depending on the layout. Also, at the bottom, I wanted to, other than the contact us form, I want to be able to show or bring my visitor to any other pages, including articles and including projects that shares the same kind of topic. For example, this is talking about data, having data and product roadmap. And in articles, I shared how I build roadmaps. So I wanted to be able to bring them together in a very consistent experience. And of course, this roadmap, it's also being used in some of my projects, which I want the visitors to also be able to see that. All right, so we got that. We got the categories. Let's try to bring some ideas together. Build category pools into projects and articles. I want to add two things here. Is one, I would add my personal profile and also a link to, I think an easy way to share the article, very easy way to share. But this is not a high priority because right now what I'm trying to do is just within the website. So I'm not trying to share, I'm not trying to improve the how many how many visitors are going to share my articles, and I'm going to try to do that. So although this might be an idea, but it's not my priority. If I see I have more time, I have more budget, I might do that as well, but it just doesn't add up. It wouldn't show immediate result unless I have more traffic or unless I am more focused. And also, I might. This is something that I might, but it's not gonna be. There's not like a immediate effect on it. Is adding feedback or adding like a, a comment section for this page for every articles. I think the rate of leaving. So I'm not too sure, but I'm guessing every 1 in 10K visitors would actually leave a comment. So not until I hit that mark, or unless people who read my site are regulars and they are a fan of mine. But if we have to think about that, let's say acquisition, I think it's acquisition and user acquisitions. Let's say, how do I know whether my visitors are a fan or not? I think traffic acquisitions, demographic. Let's see, report snapshot. All right, all right, all right. View retention. Thank you. Where can I find retentions? It's overview. Okay. So returning customer, new returning customer. So there's around how many of those? Calculator. Let's say over the last 90 days, I'll buy 42 over 325. So it's about 12% of retention. Yeah, it could be better. So having that common section uh, wouldn't help us, or wouldn't help me right away. If I have more time, budget, I might do it. But it's just nice to have. And so, articles. I also want suggestions. Articles, and case suggestions at the end of what? At the end of articles and cases. All right. So let's see. All right, articles. I think in order to spend more time, more engaged, a few things that we could do is a brief overview of what this article is that's about. So article brief, a brief of what the reader can expect. Perhaps even a table of content, if that makes sense. And also, I would say, yes, author bio plus social media links. So hopefully that would help me drive more traffic, more profile view to my LinkedIn profile, and increasing that as well. All right. And so I think that is pretty much what I want to do. Contact me. Maybe we could turn that into a more prominent button. I'll be contact me with design. Just pops. Why am I using complicated wording? Make contact me pop. Right. All right. That was a good one. Just simple, no bullshit. All right. So wordings. I think reading the content. It's okay. We might want to just start to add a little spacing in between the headers, but these are some of the things that would come after. It's more of a design enhancement, more so than anything else. All right. And numbers. All right. And I think we have the contact. We have the about me. I will also add recent engagement. Something we need to think about. Don't know whether this is going to be helpful or not, but we'll just keep it that. All right. So traffic, convert to leads. Hopefully, we'll be able to increase the conversion rate that goes from traffic to leads after the project. And deliverables. So this is the scope, the build, and deliverables. We're going to look into like what exactly are we building. So if it's a custom job, it would be like a website, backups, and we offer care plan, which is like maintenance, something like that. But in this case, we already know what deliverables are. We're gonna build just a website with new design, a website with an improved design. All right. So nothing has changed. I think the layout, the design, nothing. I'm going to touch on the color. Um, it's all going to be very design layout change. So I'm going to focus on that. It's not going to be a huge one because I just love focusing on the impact rather than just redesigning for the sake of redesigning. It's not good for business and it's just a waste of time for me, right? Because we all have better things to do, and sometimes it's it feels good to be busy, but sometimes I want to step back, and I'm also learning how to step back and think about how can I spend my time better and getting more out of it. So redesigning for the sake of redesigning, it's not going to help me. But I think this project in itself it's going to help me getting closer to my business goal, which is getting more leads. So the next time that I'm going to share, it would be a probably after 90 days, or give me 3 months after the launch, and we'll see how the result turns out. And fingers crossed, hopefully it would be able to achieve our goals. But if not, I hope I learned something new from this project. Perhaps uh, some of you would let me know what I did wrong, or perhaps there is a better way of doing this. So I'm always looking for feedbacks, and if there's anything that you think I could be helpful of, always reach out to me. All right, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon next time.